Welcome back to Paul's Tech News. This is it. September is over and we've entered the final phase of 2021. October, Q4 as some like to call it, just 3 short months until we can say so long to this rubbish year and bask in the glorious utopian future that 2022 will usher in. I am confident in this. Nothing can go wrong. For the time being though, we'll distract ourselves with the tech news minutia of the past week. So let's see here. There's a handful of hardware rumors about Intel Alder Lake CPUs, Radeon RX 6600 non-XT graphics cards, and next-gen Threadripper might be delayed. Amazon's New World MMO launched and has apparently resumed killing GPUs, and the holiday frenzy is starting to gain momentum, even though there are more than 500,000 shipping containers stuck in supply chain limbo just here at the port of Los Angeles. Buckle up, everyone. The last 3 months of the year could get a little bumpy. Cheers.
Excellent!
Today's video is brought to you by Be Quiet, maker of premium PC components, but you don't have to pay a premium price to access their gear. Consider the PureBase 500DX case, available in black or white with tasteful RGB accents, and 3 PureWings 2 140mm fans included. The PureRock Slim 2 CPU cooler is a huge step up from stock cooling, handling up to 130-watt TDP processors with a whisper quiet 92mm fan, and the PurePower 11 FM power supply lineup is fully modular and 80+ gold rated to silently power your rig for years to come. For more on Be Quiet's family of products, click the sponsor link in the video description. Before we get started, I'd like to quickly plug a charity event that kicks off this week on Wednesday, October 6th. You may be familiar with Brett, who hosts the YouTube channels UFD Tech and Hot News, and you might also be aware that his 3-year-old son, Emmett, suffers from a rare genetic disease called SynGAP1. To raise awareness about the disease and hopefully $100,000 for the SynGAP Research Fund, Brett and 2 other fathers of children with SynGAP, Peter Halliburton and Kevin Fry, will be doing a cannonball run, a 2,900-mile drive from the Red Ball Garage in New York City to the Portofino Hotel in Redondo Beach, California, in Brett's custom-wrapped Tesla Model X. They're planning to live stream the journey, which is expected to take about 60 hours, so if you'd like to donate or find out more about the fundraiser or SynGAP research, links are in the video's description. Godspeed, Brett, Peter, and Kevin. Here's to a safe journey and a successful fundraiser. And now we proceed with the tech news. The 2 busiest ports in Southern California, Los Angeles and Long Beach, are ridiculously backed up right now. 70+ ships are anchored off the coast, carrying more than 500,000 shipping containers, and they're just sitting there, waiting, because of the slow-motion train wreck that is global trade logistics in 2021. Some blame outdated infrastructure, others say importers are sending goods with nowhere to store the containers, and certainly a lack of dock workers to unload the cargo and keep up with increasing holiday season demand isn't helping. There was also that whole pandemic thing. But 90% of consumer goods are transported via container at some point, and my industry sources tell me that shipping charges for a container going from Shenzhen, China, for example, to Los Angeles, California, that used to cost about $1,500 and take 3 weeks, about 21 days, are now up to $20,000 with 6 to 8 weeks in transit. And while shipping companies and manufacturers have been dealing with this for some time, consumers are the next in line to feel the squeeze via shortages and increased pricing, which always brings some holiday cheer just in time for Christmas. Larger companies like Costco and Walmart have rented out their own containers or rerouted shipments to less busy ports, but not every business has the means to take such measures. And meanwhile, container freight ships that would typically enter through LA or Long Beach are being redirected to Oakland, Vancouver, Savannah, or Houston. You know, just a quick detour via the Panama Canal. That shouldn't take long. Maybe consider some handmade gifts for your family this year. Meanwhile, Amazon's New World MMO launched Tuesday, and that whole GPU killing problem that it had during the beta has apparently returned. Initially thought to be caused by extremely high frame rates in game menus, the problems seem to have been narrowed down to affecting only a limited early run of EVGA RTX 3090 the Win cards with poor soldering work from the manufacturer. But now there are reportedly Gigabyte cards giving up the ghost too, and some RTX 3080 Ti's, along with at least one report of an RTX 3070 powered Alienware gaming laptop. Sources include German website WinFuture and US-based system integrator Power GPU, so it doesn't look like the New World GPU problems are solved just yet, or that the game's issues are limited to long queue times. It's unclear whether Amazon Game Studios will be issuing a patch or addressing this directly, but if you're planning to try out the game and you're rocking an Nvidia GPU, it's probably a good idea to use the Nvidia control panel to force a frame rate cap on the game. Next up, we have a rumor about another possible use for the Zen 2-based AMD APU hardware that will power the Valve Steam Deck. It might also power a standalone VR headset currently codenamed Deckard. The Verge had a chance to ask Valve's Greg Coomer about the custom APU's VR capabilities during a Steam Deck hands-on, and he said, "We're not ready to say anything about it, but it would run well in that environment with the TDP necessary. It's very relevant to us and our future plans." This dovetails nicely with already public Valve schematics for a new head-mounted display and a bit of data mining performed by YouTuber Brad Lynch, who first uncovered the project's codename, Deckard. Brad did a follow-up live stream on Friday detailing what he thinks is in store for Deckard, and it could include features like an ARM-based coprocessor that allows the VR headset to operate in standalone mode or tether to a PC for more graphics processing horsepower. If you're into VR, keep an eye on Deckard and we'll see if Valve can pull off the ideal crossover device, unless you're a replicant, in which case you should probably avoid Deckard, especially if he's got a Voight comp machine.
Just answer the questions, please.
Let's talk about PC hardware next, with a collection of stories from videocards.com, starting with continued leaks and rumors about Intel's Alder Lake desktop launch. Now, you might have been misinformed by overzealous internet blowhards who foolishly claimed that the launch date would be November 19th, or did I say November 17th? Regardless, don't listen to those jerks because MSI went and spoiled everything. The rumored launch date is now November 4th because that's when MSI's free LGA 1700 upgrade kit for their all-in-one CPU coolers goes on sale. This tip-off has apparently been confirmed now by sources who are always reliable, and furthermore by Usman Pirzada from WCCF Tech, who claims that the 12900K, 12700K, and 12600K expected at launch will be announced and available for pre-order October 27th, and sales and reviews will go live November 4th. Presumably, that's also when LGA 1700 motherboards with the Z690 chipset will also go on sale, because you kind of need the motherboards in order to make the CPUs work. Memory will also slot into those motherboards of the DDR5 variety when it comes to flagship Alder Lake setups, and screenshots of a DDR5 8000 setup have been posted by REHWK on Twitter. DDR5 8000 is a big jump up from Alder Lake's base level DDR5 4800 support, and apparently this was actually a 6200 speed kit with a bit of 1.5 volt RAM overclocking to bump it up to 8000 megatransfers per second, or a frequency of 4004.1 megahertz. And if those CL50 timings seem a little loose to you, remember every time a new DDR standard is introduced, it causes a bit of a reset in what constitutes good timings. Speaking of a good time, Portuguese retailer PC Dija must have been hitting the sauce a little bit too hard when they accidentally posted an unreleased GPU for sale, the previously rumored RX 6600, without the XT, in Sapphire Pulse trim for the low price of 590 euros. That's about $684 US, probably a markup since the 6600 XT MSRP is $380, and it's not a stretch to imagine they'd price the non-XT variant lower than that. It's expected to sport 8GB of GDDR6 memory and the Navi 23XL GPU, and VideoCards currently expects it to launch on October 13th, which is in just like 10 days. So I bet you all just can't wait for there to be another GPU on the market that's sold out everywhere except for ridiculously overpriced marketplace vendors. Yay, graphics cards. Oh, and I forgot to write anything about this part, but apparently it's really good at crypto mining too, so I'm sure that will be great for its stock availability. I've covered a few rumors about AMD's next Threadripper line of high-end desktop CPUs, the 5000 series based on Zen 2 and codenamed Chagall, but they may have been delayed. This is wholly based on a tweet from indefatigable Twitter leaker Greymon55, who says Chagall will probably drop next year instead in late 2021. My personal thoughts? One, this is good, because I don't want to try to wedge in any more benchmark reviews than necessary in Q4 when I should be carving pumpkins or baking up some of my legendary apple pie. And two, this makes a ton of sense, because there's really no competition from Intel in the high-end desktop space right now, so AMD would mostly be competing with themselves if they launched it. Plus, if you keep shuffling the release date around, it'll probably make it harder for Lyle to steal my CPU samples again. And now we come to the short news, tech briefs I like to call them, starting with a bit of sad news. Silicon Lottery, the venerable CPU delidding and binning company, is closing down. It was always interesting to see their published stats on CPU overclocking to get an idea of the overclocking tolerances for a given CPU, but the market that was created by Intel cheaping out on heat spread or thermal interface material has all but disappeared. CPUs now run closer to their max frequencies out of the box, and AMD brought back both competition and a good reason for Intel to go with solder instead of TIM, meaning Silicon Lottery services are no longer required. Here's my visual analog for Silicon Lottery closing: the Sands Casino demolition in October 2007. There she goes. RIP. And we finally have a visual on the long-rumored Asus Noctua GPU collaboration. These were posted to the Asus ROG Vietnam Facebook page, and they look legitimate enough to be the real thing. Many dreaded the infusion of Noctua's oft-decried color scheme into even more PC parts, but I don't think it's too bad at all. Maybe it's because we just moved into fall and the brown and tan seem almost seasonal, but the RTX 3070's massive 4-slot cooler seems to just have dual 120mm Noctua fans nestled in an otherwise inoffensive black shroud. Still no word on a launch date or regional distribution, but the poster said it would sell for 26 million Vietnamese dong, which is over 1,000 US dollars. That's a lot of dong. There's a new Trojan in the wild called BloodyStealer that specifically targets login info from major game platforms like Steam, Bethesda, Epic Games, GOG, and EA Origin. The advanced Trojan, as detailed by Kaspersky, can scrape passwords, cookies, bank card details, and screenshots from your PC, as well as client sessions from the aforementioned launchers. Yet another reason to stay vigilant in the world of PC gaming, and if you're concerned you might be affected, enable two-factor authentication, follow smart browsing best practices, and check the article for further details. Corsair dropped a brand new product in a brand new category Thursday, the Xeneon 32QHD165 gaming monitor, a 32-inch, 165Hz, 2560 by 1440 IPS display with FreeSync Premium and Corsair IQ integration. There was a lot of promotion on that launch date, from a live stream that I participated in to a slew of launch reviews, and I think Hardware Unboxed currently sets the standard for monitor reviews, so I'm highlighting Tim's video here. The Xeneon is functionally a solid gaming display with very good color depth and well executed for a manufacturer that's new to this market, but the $800 price tag makes it hard to recommend compared to competing options already on the market. Check the video for more, and be sure to nod and pretend like you know what Tim is talking about when he shows these charts. Oh yes, Tim, the cumulative deviation is something I was totally going to mention in my review too. They did a bang-up job on the cumulative deviation there. Finally, AMD has made some bold claims this week when it comes to their workstation and server hardware, planning to increase efficiency 30-fold by 2025. This doesn't just mean chips that draw less power, it means improving performance per watt and squeezing more raw performance out of every square millimeter of die space. The focus is on AI and high-performance computing workloads, and while these improvements are aimed at data center hardware, advancements in that realm often trickle down to consumer platforms, so PC gaming hardware might eventually benefit as well. And now it's time to efficiently end this show. So there you have it, guys, tech news for the week. Start Q4 off on the right foot by leaving me some feedback in the comment section down below, won't you? While you're down there, all the articles I talked about today are linked in the video's description. If you're interested in further reading, you can also click the like button. If you enjoyed this video, check out my store at paulshardware.net for a selection of excellent merchandise options, including my beer sets with the Imperial pint glasses, and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos like this one in the future. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.